are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 184 of the College Loop Podcast. I am Dylan Larck at your boy Tank on Twitter, and I'm here joined by Mr. Harrison Tarr. Tarr, how you doing, buddy?
Hey man, I'm good. A lot of roller coaster of emotion news coming out of the barnyard, if you will, the past 24 hours. I know that as soon as all this news started to break, right after you recorded this super late episode, I know you're ready to bang your head into a wall. You're like, why couldn't this have happened? It made things more really exciting. Thanks for holding down the fort on Monday evening, Tuesday, as you guys would see it. Actually, we're recording a matter of hours before it came out.
I was going to say, it was recorded that on Tuesday.
Yeah, Dylan was certainly putting in the work in the classroom and then in the StreamYard recording studio. So I'm ready to rock and roll, man. We got a pretty linear slate is what I'll go with today for Auburn Athletics. I think that's the right word, is linear. It's going to be pretty direct. But I'm going to get the opportunity to shout out a couple of smaller sports. Smaller, by that I mean less covered, no less important, but less covered. Get to shout some people out, and you had me go down a little golf rabbit hole there a second ago, and you're just speaking my language right now, and I'm excited to be able to talk about some of these outstanding Auburn athletes. But let's just jump right into it, and like I said, let's make this linear. We'll start with football. Welcome back to your realm of normality. For those of you guys listening, don't get used to it. We're gonna try to keep things shaking it up and keep having fun on this show. So Dylan, I'll let you go ahead. It's really just news, so I'll let you break it.
Yeah, so as it broke yesterday, JD Rim is apparently no longer with the football team, and he plans on entering the portal as soon as it opens back up. Last year, JD Rim only had 6 tackles. It had an interception. A depth piece last year. Someone I definitely assumed could have been someone that started in that star role. But I presume this means that we're going to see a lot more Caleb Wooten in that role, maybe some Sylvester Smith, a lot of these younger guys who are moving on up. But JD Rim is, I think this leaves, it might actually leave Jarquez Hunter as like one of the few like remnants of a Brian Harsin class. Because I think JD Rim was one of the last like Harsin guys who signed. So now it's just Jarquez Hunter left over. And of course, I might be missing a few guys who I'm definitely missing a few guys who I'm just not thinking about. But yeah, JD Rim, wishing the best of luck. Definitely had a lot of potential for the Auburn Tigers, but it's a loaded secondary. You can't get upset whenever secondary players start transferring out, unless it's like a mass exodus of them. But definitely one of Auburn's most loaded classes or position groups, and you're going to miss him. But honestly, I think it's for the best for his career and just the depth in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just the beginning of the transfer portal news that we have for today, because as you mentioned, it's wishing JD Rim the best in his future endeavors, and kind of odd, like you said, it's the first Harsinite or the last Harsinite to really ride off into the sunset that we can recall for that matter. Now, next in the transfer portal news, I'm going to go and roll over to it, Dylan, and we're going to talk about Auburn men's basketball right here on the College Loop Podcast. Rolling into this one quickly. Auburn bids adieu to their beloved psychopath in Katie Johnson. Dylan, I've not got to check in on you. Hope you're doing well, okay, mentally. He announced that he will be entering the transfer portal. Just a couple things to note about Katie Johnson. He's played 118, that's 118 career games, all but 16 of those, so 112 of those in an Auburn uniform, averaging 22.4 minutes per game, shooting a career 39%. We'll round up that 38.9 to 39% from the field. He is 31% career from beyond the 3-point arc, and then a 70% career free throw shooter. You throw that over, moving forward, and you've got he averages 1.5 steals per game, but we all know Katie Johnson very capable of being more impactful for that, and a career 10-point per game average. So that's, if you look over season to season, that can fluctuate if you really want to deep dive. But this is the more polished version of Katie Johnson, and for all intents and purposes, Dylan, I think this is a mutual party. I say that this is all speculation. I don't have a whole lot of reason within the program. I've not been too snoopy. Katie Johnson was a fantastic basketball player in whole for the Auburn Tigers. You take the good with the bad with that young man, in terms of he can be really, really awesome, or he can be really, really, really hard to watch. But he plays with a lot of heart. He plays with a ton of intensity, and no doubt one of the true spark plugs of the past 3 years, and it feels like it's been longer, but over the past 3 years for the Auburn Tigers and for Bruce Pearl and company, he does maintain 1 year of eligibility, obviously entering college as a freshman at UGA and during the COVID season. And we'll be interested. I imagine there's going to be a hefty amount of opportunity for him to play, not just at the Division I level, but at the Power 5 level, even potentially within the conference. 3 SEC stops would be nuts, but where that lands him. Dylan, I think that it's pretty obvious why Katie Johnson decided to head to the transfer portal. Talk to me a little bit about where your head's at there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Katie Johnson, definitely one of my favorite players that I've watched actually play for Auburn over the past 3 years. Which, I mean, you could, if you would told me he came here as a freshman, I would have believed you, because I forget I sometimes forget he played at Georgia, which I know he doesn't forget that, because every single game he played against Georgia in Auburn uniform, he was going a mile a minute, and maybe faster than that. But yeah, you're looking at a season where you're presuming Aiden Holloway and Trey Donaldson both return. Denver Jones presumes that he returned, and of course you have Todd Pettiford coming in. So that's going to be a pretty loaded guard room right off the bat. That's 4 guards altogether. And Katie Johnson made some room for himself in this past year, and a guy that you really want off the bench. Someone is going to be very lucky to have him, and I know Willie from the Bama fan base was already trying to recruit.
I saw that. Roll Tide Willie was trying to coax Katie Johnson over to the dark side, which I don't think Katie Johnson's necessarily above, just to be honest with you. So,
I mean, he did go from Georgia to Auburn, and then that would just be another level. But I gotta say, I don't know how I'd feel, because it'd be like the Bree Ellis thing at Arkansas. Like I'd want him to have a great season, except for 2 games out of the year. But I just
I think you'd be the
can't.
severe minority there.
I can't root for the jersey he'd be wearing in that case. That's just me. And then probably the rest of the fan base too. If he puts on that crimson jersey, I can't root for him.
Good news is I don't think that's the case. So I don't think that Alabama is going to be in the cards, but we'll see.
It would be funny if he did go to Arkansas. I will say, just ride with a must bus for a year
as it tumbles end over end.
Yeah, as it wrecks even further than it might already have. But yeah, Katie Johnson.
This is a lesson the SEC needed. Stop making coaches names that rhyme with bus. Stop just making that happen.
Hey, those coaches tend to do well at a UCF or something along those lines. So maybe there's a UCF stop in the must bus's future. But yeah, this is it sucks. I will say, because Katie Johnson, definitely one of the fan favorites for the past 3 years. Him and Dylan Cardwell both. And you finally saw you finally had I'm going to use this term well. I hope so. You had Chad Baker Mazar come through, who was able to tame Katie Johnson at times, right. And that really helped his progression this year. Someone's going to be very lucky to have their own psychopath, but the memes, and he will always be an Auburn Tiger to everybody else. It's going to be like another Bo Nix thing. Cool, he went to Oregon. People mostly going to remember him for the Auburn uniform. No matter where Katie Johnson goes, he's going to be known for being Auburn's little psychopath who is now just had a random stop somewhere else.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be a little weird, almost like the first year Devin Cambridge was away from the program. Everyone was, still quiet. I know that's a weird comparison, but everyone's still quietly rooting for Bounce Man, or not even quietly, just you're wishing for the success, right, to keep it within the basketball program. This is the right move for Katie Johnson, guys. It is, and if I'm in his shoes, he'll be receiving his degree in May and moving forward, if he hasn't already. I believe he does graduate in May.
I hope so.
Yeah, you would hope. You would hope. Otherwise, he will not be in the portal. That will not be an option for him.
It's going to be another Stetson Bennett. He's just been in college for so long to have a degree.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case with KD. But if I'm in his shoes, I'm probably looking around, like you mentioned, Dylan, with the guard room and saying, I just don't have a piece here. I don't have a place here, and I don't think there's any bad blood. I think this is a good mutual parting of ways. But I do think that this is going to be the offseason of guard shakeup on the Plains, both men's and women's. And we'll talk just a second about women's hoops. All things considered, here's a little tidbit that I kind of got to thinking about when Katie Johnson announced that he was heading to the transfer portal. Dylan, you and I haven't discussed this yet, so I'm just giving your live reaction here. It's going to make you feel really old. I believe This is the 2024-2025 season is going to be the first year that not a single starter on that court was playing ball for Auburn when you and I were there.
Well, as if Dylan Cardwell remains for another year.
If Dylan Cardwell comes back, then my point is moot. But
then you can bring it up next year.
Yeah, next year, this time next year, we're going to be having that I'm old moment. So we'll address that when we get there. But I think that's in the cards. I think it's close. The time is coming.
How long has Jalen Harper been there? He's gone after this year.
Starters.
Starters. Okay. You gotta throw in the walk-ons too. Some of the walk-ons gave us some of our most hype moments we had as a part of the jungle.
Sure.
I can't remember. It wasn't Mushalek. Who was it? Who drained that three to put Auburn over 100?
It wasn't a three. It was a free throw. Oh my gosh! Why are you asking me a pop quiz question that I could have pulled out of my butt any other time?
No, one of the walk-ons drained a three in that Alabama game. I don't know if it put Auburn over 100, but it definitely got it close, because it was within seconds of getting subbed in. He was just in the corner sitting there and just drained one. And that same day, I think JD Davison had 0 points in 19 minutes. So that was also just an awesome game. I will say, since I know you're looking that up right now,
I'm actually just outsourcing it to Hillman.
I will say there has been a lot of talks as of late about the potential of Aiden Holloway leaving.
I don't think that's happening.
I would find it very weird for him to transfer out after being this is not like I'm trying to think of names, Johan Trayor and Chance Westry thing where they didn't find a spot on the team. Aiden Holloway found a spot. He found what he was able to do well for Auburn in this past year, and of course he's going to need that offseason to get better at at finding his shot and taking those smart shots. I would think it would be very weird.
Carter, and of course, Mr. 100. That's what I thought.
Carter, there we go. Guy who he got a scholarship this year, so cool. But you're looking at Aiden Holloway, who would definitely be your starting one next year. I would find it very odd to see him walk out the door, even though with the starting minutes still very much there, playing for a team that's not going under anytime soon.
And this team's not going to be as deep next year that we know of.
Yeah,
that we know of.
Because people are still saying the Janai Broom might be coming back. I would be remiss.
Janai Broom is where he's at projected in the NBA draft. I think he's criminally undervalued in the NBA world. I do think he's going to go to the NBA. I do think that's going to happen, and I would be floored otherwise. But selfishly, Janai, if you want to come back and build your draft stock, it certainly is an option. Like you can build your draft stock here, and I think Auburn's outlook completely changes.
I would say if Zach Adday can still play for 18 years at Purdue and still get drafted after leaving, I think Janai Broom would be.
Let's also not forget Dalton Connect is not a freshman.
Yeah, I forgot where he transferred. Where did he transfer in from?
Dalton, why are you quizzing me on things? Hold on. You're the worst, dude.
That's my thing. Is it I think it's is it Michigan or is it a Central Michigan maybe? It was it was a smaller school.
Northern Colorado.
Nowhere close. Nowhere close to Michigan. But yeah, I would love it if Janai Broom stayed. Of course, these are sources saying this that I think might know a little more about. I think Hoke has been being very sketchy about it, oh well, this might happen, never know, kind of thing. But
I don't buy too much in any of that.
Yeah.
That's not even a roast or slight toward Hoke. It's just I think Janai Broom's an NBA player. I think that there are enough scouts in the NBA that believe he's a valuable NBA piece. Now, here's the question. And I didn't expect us to go down the Janai Broom route. And I'll make this short. I know we're going to talk about Sydney Shaw and her announcement to depart from the program here in just a moment after we get to an ad break as well, might I add. So buckle up for a second, folks. But does Janai Broom need to develop a pure four stock? Is that necessitated? Because he's kind of a small five. I know that's hard to believe at 6'10". I get it. I know that's hard to understand, but he's kind of a small five, and he's shot the ball enough this year to show that he can play the four. Does he need more reps showing that he's capable of playing more than a stretch five? Maybe that's the case. But here's the thing. I don't know that Auburn can offer him that. I don't know that that's in the cards because I think you still need him to play the stretch 4 a modified 5 position. I don't know. If he tests the waters, I would certainly enter my name into the NBA draft. That is certainly going to happen.
Yeah.
I think that if you're guaranteed an early second round pick, late first round pick, I think Janai Broom played himself into a top 20 pick in this NBA draft, but clearly the NBA doesn't agree with me. They haven't consulted with me yet, which I feel slighted that no one's given me a call. But I don't know. I mean, if rumors are circling, I'm gonna let them circle, and I'm not gonna be mad if he comes back. But I don't want anybody to put their eggs in that basket, and don't be upset when you hear roster moves, such as what we're going to talk about on the other side of this ad break. Before we get to Auburn women's basketball, I want to remind everybody, if you're hanging out right here on the College Loop YouTube channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Drop a comment, give us your feedback on the mass movement of personnel within Auburn Athletics, and we'll talk about Diamond Sports here in just a moment. Give us your thoughts. We've got a pretty big headliner on the other side of this break following Sydney Shaw. So that's going to be something to look forward to. But give us all of your feedback. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That is the number one way you guys can help the College Loop podcast, and I cannot tell you how much it is not lost on us, how crazy it is, the outpouring of support we've had and the chance that people have taken on us. We can't tell you guys how much we appreciate it. Cannot say that enough. If you're hanging out with us on a streaming platform, make sure you give us a 5-star, thumbs up, whatever the highest rating is on your streaming platform of choice. Share the show with a friend so we can continue to grow the College Loop family. Ways to support the show beyond just hitting like, subscribe, ring the bell, or share the show. You can head over to thewarreport.com, pick up your very own College Loop podcast, War Report podcast network co-branded Feel and Loopy t-shirt. Comes in 5 different colorways, $25, only available at thewarreport.com. That link is in the description for every single one of our shows on every single platform. Once you pick up your very own Feel and Loopy shirt, make sure you go on to your social media platform, whatever makes you happy, whatever your favorite social media platform is. Use hashtag Feel and Loopy with a selfie of you in your shirt, a photo of your dog in the shirt, a photo of you flying the shirt like a flag, whatever makes you happy. We want to see it. We'll make sure we throw it up on the stream. That's hashtag Feeling Loopy, feeling without the G, and tagging us at the College Loop on all of our social media platforms. Dylan, now that I feel like I could really get a side gig saying, if you or a loved one has been affected by messaging, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have a side gig future in that. So if anybody knows a guy, I'm all game. But
I will say, before we get into anything, I will just go and let everybody know. Update on the bracket challenge.
I forgot that's still happening. I have not watched a single March Madness game since Auburn lost. True story.
Yeah, I need to be. Yeah, I'm currently wearing the tournament champion shirt that I bought as soon as Auburn beat Florida, and I wish I had the same mindset I did whenever I bought that shirt. But currently winning the women's bracket is Ryan Peoples, still in the lead for his 2 free 8-day tickets. And the person currently in the lead for 2 other 8-day tickets, as well as 2 free rounds of golf, courtesy of one Harrison Tarr, also going to play alongside him, is your boy the Tank is currently the lead of the men's bracket.
Good. That'll be a 5-hour round.
But right behind your boy the Tank is, of course, John Lee. But do not put too much stock into that, because out of a lot of the people left to go in this, we have very low points remaining. So if you want to go based off of who has the most points remaining in this, it is Primetime 8015114, who picked Houston. Daniel Locke has 116 points left, picking UNC. And Preston Higdon has 120 points left. And I Like Big Brackets has 124
That's a hell of a
left.
name.
Yeah, great name. And of
You
course,
read out what their name is. I don't think
What?
you will, but pretty sure I know what their username is.
It's I Like Big Brackets.
Their username is not that.
I don't know what you're talking about, because I don't see. That's just all I see.
I'll tell you after we're off on the show. You won't let me say that.
I'll say Colin Beiersdorf also has 112 points.
All of our friends just want me to pay for them to go play at RTJ. It's unbelievable.
Jose Gonzalez has 108 points left.
Jesus Lord, guys.
Wardam Softball has 100 points left. And College League Fan has 108 points left. So a lot of points hanging around. So, Tara, if we get a tiebreaker, you might be paying for a lot of people to play golf.
That's not how that works. That is not how that works.
Tara, what I'm hearing is you have to buy everybody or at least one round of golf. That's what this says, right?
I should have really promised like Indian Pines instead of RTJ, but that's all right. We're playing the greens, but you know what? Such is life, and we move forward. All right. let's jump in to speaking of hoops while we're on that subject and while we're on the subject of the transfer portal. Let's talk about Sydney Shaw making her announcement official that she's entering the transfer portal. And this one, Dylan, I'm genuinely upset about.
Yeah, it's hard not to be. Sydney Shaw definitely looked like or not looked like, was the truth whenever she came off the bench this past year. Gave Auburn a reliable score outside of on Scott Grayson. Of course, she only averaged 6 points a game last year, but it was a solid 6 minutes. Of course, she had a lot of games where she just absolutely went off in the time that she was able to play. Definitely like a foundational piece going into that next year under Coach Jay, which we're all assuming is going to be even better than how this year turned out.
Right.
I think that we'd all be remiss to not speak on how well of a program this has turned out under Coach Jay in just such little time. But at Auburn, she shot 35% from the field, 33% from the 3-point line, and offered a lot of quality, just all across the board quality stats for the Tigers. So yeah, 7 points a game, 2.6 rebounds a game, 1.5 steals, and then or about 1 steal and then about 1.5 assists a game. It sucks. I think this one hurts the team more than the Katie Johnson departure for men's.
Absolutely, 100%.
Because this was a starter. This was a starter going into
How
her
many
third year.
times have we said that Sydney Shaw was the next coming of Scott Grayson? Like
A lot.
I was a little blindsided by this one and genuinely bummed. Wishing her the best. Trust the process here, because transfer portal decisions are not always one-sided. They're not. It's not that I'm saying Coach Jay pushed Sydney out. I'm just saying it could be a mutual thing in terms of, and I really don't know. It's all speculation, and you can't assume anything without making an ass out of you and me. I'm not naive to that, but I'm going to stay true to the course here, just because if this is what's best for both parties, this is what's best for both parties, and if it's not, Coach Jay knows how to work the portal. And she's got proof of concept now in an NCAA tournament berth. I hate it. I think Sydney could have really gone down as a great at Auburn, but at the same time, I get it. If this wasn't the right fit, this wasn't the right fit. But damn, am I excited to see how her career shapes up.
Yeah, and it is worth noting. Shortly after Auburn found out about Sydney Shaw's leaving, Taylon Collins came out and announced that she will be returning to the Plains for her last year of eligibility. She was an Oklahoma State player for the past. But when she got to college, she played 3 years at Oklahoma State and then transferred to Auburn last year. Is looking to come back again and be another starter yet again, because she started all 32 games that she played in. Averaged 7.9 points a game, 6.3 rebounds, about 1 assist, 1.6 steals a game, and averaged about a block a game while she was the starting big for the Auburn Tigers. And it's huge, pun intended, to have a returning big in Taylon Collins, who's probably going to be one of the leaders of this team. Kind of just looking around, because I would like to kind of look around at the roster and kind of see who this starting five would be and what it would look like, especially without Sydney Shaw, because I definitely would have built my team around Sydney Shaw.
Yeah.
Going into year 3, or year 4 of Coach Jay. So huge pickup in just keeping Taylon Collins around, because you're always recruiting your players back, no matter what what day it is, what minute it is, what hour it is. Always recruiting both players to come to your team and players to stay with your team. So huge pickup.
Player retention is important, Dylan. And, sometimes it's just not in the best interest of all parties. All right. College Loop listeners, loyal listeners, specifically softball listeners. I'm about to let Dylan Larck go absolutely nuts on this podcast. I'm going to let him stretch out for a second. I will let him cook for an extensive period of time here, because I'm going to let him talk softball before I roll in and give our baseball preview. So he's going to roll in with this news. He's going to give you your U2K preview, and I'm going to talk about Auburn baseball and their victory over Jacksonville State, and then taking on, which, by the way, Grand Salami at Plainsman Park last night. Just throwing that out there. And we'll preview Auburn's clash with a very, very talented and very, very good Texas A&M team. But before we do that, Dylan Larck has had his prayers answered. A lot of you have had your prayers answered. it looks like there may be light at the end of the tunnel for a team that is headed in I won't even say seemingly, in the wrong direction in Auburn softball. You've seen the likes of Bree Ellis and Denver Bryant
Lindsey
and
Garcia, Jesse
Lindsey Garcia
Blaine.
leave this program and leave Maddie Pinta, the loyalist, if you will, stranded to fend for herself. This ends now. Mickey Dean has officially announced he will step down at the end of this year as head coach of the Auburn softball program. Let the coaching search begin. Go get your guy. Dylan, how pumped are you?
I am ecstatic because it was, I mean, I would have, I don't want to say what I would have done, but letting him go out on his own terms is a nice little handout. I'm
I
honestly
love when
surprised
people say that.
letting him go out on their own terms.
Yeah. I just thought I decided it was best for me. That's all. I'm letting you cook, but I just love when people say that. It's like, they told you were getting fired. Like,
you can either get fired now or you can retire at the end of the year. That's what probably the conversation was had. This is a huge win for John Cohen as well, because you had a couple weeks go by where Auburn softball fans, and of course everyone knows Auburn is big on football and basketball, but the niche fans that love softball just as much as they love football were annoyed, were angry at what was going on with their beloved softball program and our beloved softball program, I will say, because it looked like there was a lack of care in the higher ups on how they perceived softball as a major contributor for their program. And this is a team this is a program that has seen the College World Series in the past decade, and a team that has hosted regionals before. Like, this is not a team that should be plateauing like it was, and it looked like it was going. And I will say plateauing for the past 2 years. This team was definitely rolling downhill at a fast pace going into this year, and you saw a sweep, you saw 2 loss series in a row. It was just bad. It looked bad. It looked bad on everybody. It looked bad on the fans. It looked bad on everybody around the program. And it all started with Mickey Dean.
I
And the
tried the
fact that
little pan in thing so you could really get the full Dylan Larck effect. Continue.
Yeah, but to see John Cohen finally step up and look around and be like, yeah, you know what? The fans are upset. The team's not performing well. It's a bad look. All right, Mickey, you can either retire now or we gotta let you go in the middle of the season, which honestly, at this point, it's the same thing. Because it was already a lack of care. I've gone on to say that Mickey Dean was doing the same thing as Brian Harsin was. A dead man walking, it felt like. So kind of just gonna make it through the year. In case you are unaware, I say this a lot. Auburn hosts the SEC tournament this year. Auburn hosts the SEC tournament this year at beautiful Jane B. Moore Field. And Auburn is going to have the pleasure of having to watch every other team play throughout the 3 days of that tournament, because Auburn will not be there after day one. And I am very strong in thinking that if something turns around and happens, it'd be awesome. But I would be remiss to say that I would still want to keep Mickey Dean off of out of the dugout going into next year, because I think the time is done, and I've seen people wishing him well, which is I don't want to wish ill upon anybody, and I think there's a couple of people I saw that did I think we were kind of just saying things just to, like, because they didn't really know what was going on, but this is a huge W for softball, a team that desperately needs it. And of course, the players are going to be upset because that's their coach that recruited them. I know there's been a lot of players that came out and kind of said thank you for all that you've done for the team, which is a great PR move. But this is a win. This is a huge win. Needed to happen and happened sooner rather than later because you already know there's light at the end of the tunnel. Get ready to throw some money around and get you a home run hire, because this is a program that desperately needs a great coach right now.
Well, the upside here, Dylan, before I let you cook on the Kentucky preview for Auburn softball, I wanted to give you your platform. I knew that you
Tennessee.
were very. I say Kentucky, Tennessee.
I put UTK and in the thing, so that might have thrown you off a little bit.
No, I'm looking at different standings on my laptop. I'm looking at SEC golf standings, and I don't know why there's red Kentucky off the screen, but here we are. So my apologies. But before I let you preview Tennessee, the Tennessee matchup, I do want to just kind of expand on this. Auburn is equipped. That's the word I think that I like to use here. Auburn is yearning to return to the level of softball tradition that Auburn is capable of doing. This isn't one of those sports, and I know you listeners get sick of me talking about how I think Auburn's at a plateau of this, that, and the other, wherever we're at. And, I know I harp on football, Auburn football like hell. But Auburn softball legitimately has the resources. It has the backing, and it has the opportunity to go to unforeseen heights or unlimited heights and sort of the highest level. Hell, Auburn has been there before, and it wasn't a fluke. It needs a leader now and a change in leadership that's going to be able to maintain not just a locker room, but a connection with the donors, but a connection with the fan base. Not, I'll be honest with you, your common day-to-day fans, it is what it is. You need to be civil with them and not be, a jackass, but you need to be able to make sure that you're keeping everybody bought into a community that wants to buy in so bad. It's a metaphorical garden that you've not watered. And if you just give it the nutrients it needs, it will blossom. And I know that's a hell of an analogy there, but I've seen it with my own eyes. This program has the support. You just need somebody at the front of the ship that's willing to take the initiative. It's not going to be easy. It's not easy to win in this league. But if you don't accept that there are things that you can do better, or that this program can be doing better, and that there are resources to do better, you don't deserve to be in this place. Very, very excited for whoever Auburn determines to be the next leader of this program. I think you're getting the keys to a Ferrari. I really do. And I did not say the same thing about football. I want you guys to remember that. I did not say the same thing about football. I did not say the same thing when Coach Jay, this is pre the college loop. I did not say the same thing when Coach Jay took over Auburn women's basketball. You're having to build a culture for women's basketball. Football, you got to bring in people that are beyond fed up with your program for years. Softball, they want it, and they want it yesterday. It's not an impatient thing. It's that this group has seen it before, and this group knows it's capable. And let's not forget, it is the most fun spring sport on campus to watch. I said it. And it is the most accessible. It's the most interactive. The in-game experience is top-notch. You're getting the keys to a Ferrari. Dylan, talk to me a little bit about how Auburn stacks up against Tennessee. I almost said Kentucky again, but Tennessee. And I will go ahead and forewarn you guys, just because Mickey Dean is stepping down does not mean that the season's going to get better. I don't think it gets worse, but I don't think it necessarily gets a whole lot better.
So currently Auburn stands at a 2-7 conference record after getting swept by Texas A&M last week. Number 12, Texas A&M, I will say, also has had series losses to number 12 at the time, Missouri, and number 20 at the time, Arkansas. Well, now you're out of the double-digit rankings. Tennessee is currently ranked number 4 in the country, and they do so for a reason. Because they are 26-4. They have not lost a game at home or away. All 4 of the losses coming on the neutral site. They have 5 batters batting 350 or above. They have 50 home runs already as a team. They can absolutely knock the felt off of a softball. They are just absolutely ridiculous. They have a couple of girls who aren't batting the best at the back end. They have one girl batting at 0.94.
I would be only 0.094 lower than that if I was trying to hit against this level of pitching.
Yeah, especially if and you think you probably wouldn't get much better if you had to practice against Carlin Pickens and Peyton Gottschall, because they are currently the highest ERA out of those two is Peyton Gottschall with a 1.05, and then Carlin Pickens' ERA is a 0.54. So yeah, not a lot of runs given up between the two of them. Only 23, if my math does do me right. And that's so 23 runs out of, let's see, 20, 27 games out of the two of the pitchers. So yeah, 27 games average and giving up less than one run in those games. So I don't foresee this weekend going any better than what we have seen. I will say, if you want to go to one of the games this weekend, go to the Saturday game where you can shout out Michaela Packer, who is one of the best players in Auburn softball history, one of the best base runners. I think she's tied second in triples. I believe that's right, and of course, I think she's higher, or she's up there in steals too. That's me trying to recollect or the knowledge that I have. But I don't know how likely I am to see a win this weekend. And that's me kind of putting it a little nicely because this is a very, very good team. And this, again, is a team that might have a chance of winning the national championship unless Oklahoma has anything to say about it, kind of thing. Which SEC is not going to get much easier, I will say, going into next year. So if I had to have a favorite for Auburn softball, see whatever Oklahoma's paying. What's her name? Oh, God. Oklahoma's head coach for softball. I should know her name. I hate that I don't. Oh, my God.
Patty Gasso.
Patty Gasso.
Patty Gasso, excuse me.
Yeah, if I'm mad that I didn't.
Well, she's been in Oklahoma. So I couldn't remember her first name. I knew it was Gasso, but I couldn't remember if it was Patty. I want to say Patricia.
She's been in Oklahoma for she's been in Oklahoma since we've been alive.
1995.
Yeah.
She's at Oklahoma since Nebraska was good at football. Let that just resonate with you.
And Georgia Tech. Waiting for the
Brent Key is the key, all right?
But yeah,
Tech has the key.
John Cohen, if you want to make the fan base even happier for softball, see whatever Oklahoma's paying Patty Gasso, and
make it.
I don't say make it comparable, or go even higher. Just do something because it'd be awesome. But yeah, I don't see Auburn getting a win this weekend. Tennessee is very good, not especially against a team that doesn't like to score a lot of runs a lot. So expect a lot. If anything, it could be a nice little pitcher's duel for the two games that Maddie Pinta starts.
Yeah.
But I don't know how likely it is to be a pitcher's duel whenever the Auburn offense is not keeping up with Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're probably just correct about that. But yeah, such is life.
Not the only Auburn team playing its number 4 team in the country though. So
speaking of. Auburn baseball is going to do battle with Texas A&M in Aggie land. Stop me if you've heard this before. A&M is doing okay this year, which, by the way, Dylan, can you do me a quick favor while I'm running through these my game notes real quick and just look up the Auburn at Georgia Tech date because I did want to make a quick announcement about that. I cannot remember off the top of my head. I have my Diamond Club tickets already, but I'm trying to look that up.
May 7th.
May 7th. Okay. Put a pin in that. I'll bring that back in.
It helps to have the schedule right in front of me.
Here in just a minute. I do too, but I penned away from it when I looked over. So, Dylan, A&M is 22-3 on the year. Is that good?
It is very good, especially whenever you have a bunch of guys who are batting 373, 363, 315, 313, 303, 301, and that's all in your starting lineup right off the bat. And also this team has, and I quote, 47 home runs. 2 of their guys are battling out for who's going to lead the team, with both of them having 12 this early on in the year.
Yeah, so this is going to be a ton of fun. A&M already 3-3 in conference play, getting beat up on a little bit by Florida, and then going and winning a series versus, I guess, at home, in College Station against number 21 Mississippi State, who's decided they're back to being good at baseball this year. It is an even year, so they're back to being good. They're like the inverse of the San Francisco Giants in the early 2010s. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but that was wild. Only good in odd years. A&M decided even years is their vibe. So, or excuse me, not A&M, Mississippi State has decided even years are their vibe. So this group is, as you mentioned before, Dylan, they're going to slug it well. They're going to get on base and they're going to threaten a lot. Now their games have not been overwhelmingly high scoring and large. I mean, they defeated HCU in the midweek 6-3. You got to take away the fact that midweeks are always wacky, but they're not putting up huge numbers on the scoreboard in terms of run differential. I'd have to have the run differential in front of me, but just looking through, it's not a ton of blowout wins over anyone other than like Rhode Island, which cool. And then you look earlier in the season, and they did beat Wagner 21-2, but Wagner is not a great squad. They also beat them 17-2. It's not a ton of like non-competitive ball games, and they're not running away with things, but their pitching staff's helping them out a lot. They've got two guys that'll go on the bump on their weekend series, and that's Justin Lampkin and Ryan Prager, that are both pitching below a 2. Lampkin to a 1.48 and Prager to a 1.67.
I can give you the run differential if you'd like.
Thank you. You have the run differential in front of you?
They scored 218 runs this year. They've given up 82.
You see, that number sounds crazy inflated, but if you think about the fact they've already played 25 games, and let's say their run differential is, let's say they win a couple of those by 10 plus like they did against Wagner, that does not leave it drastically different. Teams are hanging in ball games with A&M or making late inning rallies against the bullpen that's pitching in the mid 4s, low 5s, some in the 6s. If you can get to their back end, you're in good shape. The problem is their starters eat up innings. They've already got 1-2 guys over 30 innings plus. Ryan Prager pitching 32 flat. And then you've got Chris Cortez pitching 20 flat to a 2.25. And then you have Evan Aschenbach pitching to a 0.67. And he's pitching he's pitched 23.2 innings. They have a rotational group of arms that will probably play at the next level. Now, how does Auburn accomplish taking on a rotation like this? I was trying to figure out my verbiage there, Dylan. I'm sorry for the awkwardly long pause. I'm sorry. I didn't know which way I wanted to lead with that. I shouldn't have said accomplish first. I should have said, how does Auburn take down a rotation looks like this? But I just didn't know which direction I wanted to head. My brain moving slower than my mouth. Clearly, what else is new in my life?
I was like doing a little bit of math.
A little bit of small ball wouldn't piss me off this weekend. I'm just going to be honest. Making pitchers work.
Doing some math, Texas A&M is currently winning games on average around 8.72 to 3.28.
Okay. Call that a 5-run differential per game. I know that sounds like a bloodbath, but they have so many inflated numbers, Dylan. And you'd have to go through it. You can do the math if you want. I'm not going to ramble that long, so you can figure it out right now.
I mean, the McNeese opening weekend was a combined score of 31-1 in A&M's favor.
If you throw out that weekend and then you
throw out the non-con, just throw out the non-con.
Yeah, if you throw out the non-con, the insignificant non-con, it's not wide differentials. And A&M's a great group. Don't get me wrong. This is a talented team that could contend for an SEC title and really play deep into the summer. But I think Auburn has the pieces. It's just a matter of, can you find a form of consistency for 3 games? Really just 2. If you steal 1, great. Play another one close. You can get blown out in the 3rd one, and it really is fine. Now, Dylan, who's going to be on the bump this weekend?
Starting off, for the Auburn Tigers on Thursday, so today as the show comes out, as is going to be known weekday legend Connor McBride for the Thursday game. Friday is going to be Chase Alsop, and then Saturday is going to be Jogo himself. Of course, this is going to be moved up a day because, of course, Easter is on Sunday. So up in the air on whether or not we'll have a live stream on that day.
Also worth noting, Auburn did take care of business in the midweek against Jacksonville State. That was behind the arms of Christian Herberholz, Dylan Watts, and Alex Petrovic and Zach Crotchfeld, allowing a combined 3 runs to Jacksonville State's 13. Auburn run rules Jacksonville State in 7 innings and gets the job done there, predominantly on the bump, but a 4th inning explosion of 7 runs. The guys were seeing the baseball the size of a beach ball in the 4th inning.
And the 5th inning as well.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't hurt. The 7-5, but coming down the stretch, Auburn just they couldn't miss the ball. I mean, it's one of those, and it gets toxic and contagious in the good way, where everybody's catching the "oh my gosh, I can see everything" plague. Just see if you can keep that rolling into the midweek. You stole 1 from Arkansas last weekend. You win your midweek against Jacksonville State. Go grab 1, maybe 2 this weekend. That's a tough, tall order, and I'm not naive to that. But go grab at least 1 against Texas A&M and buckle up, because it does not get much easier, but it does get easier. coming down the back end. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of love the way this schedule's set up, Dylan, before we roll into gymnastics. I know you're about to talk about here in just a moment, but I love the way the schedule is laid out, because I do think it sets you up to get hot late. And we've heard this before. I'm not going down that avenue, because last time we talked about this was not a great ending, and we didn't like the ending of that movie. So you catch my drift, though. I think it does set you up to really have a lot of confidence going into SEC tournament play, into regional play, super regional, so on and so forth. And I still think this team has all the pieces. I've got all the hope in the world. Very, very excited. That on that note, you mentioned, give me the date one more time for Auburn at Georgia Tech, Dylan.
May 7th.
May 7th. I have it on my calendar, like on my Google Calendar for work, because I had to take the afternoon off. I will be at Auburn at Georgia Tech, probably surrounded by a bunch of Yellow Jackets. I will not be wearing Georgia Tech white and gold. Don't worry, guys. Don't you guys stress.
Look for the guy wearing blue.
What'd you say?
Look for the guy wearing orange, I guess.
Yeah, I'm about to say I will be there wearing an Auburn pinstripe. I guess now it's a throwback uniform, baseball uniform, in the Diamond Club. But we will have a open invite to hang out, maybe grab a couple brews on their viewing balcony. They've got a great setup there at Rush Chandler. So make sure you guys stay posted. I'll let you guys know what our itinerary looks like there. Would love to hang out with you guys. I will be there. I'm sure that former member of the program, Daniel Larck, will also be there. So we'll be hanging out and maybe have a couple brews and see if we can get some free tech swag that I can hook up some of my friends, so you can have a good secondary team, except for those of you guys who are on Team Recom Tech. I understand the historic rivalry. # bring it back. # grease the tracks, in case you guys want to know where my loyalty is. To hell with everyone not named Auburn, unless, Georgia Tech's not playing Auburn, then we got a different story. But we'll address that as we get closer. Did want to go and put that on everybody's radar, Dylan, as we move forward. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there that's in the Atlanta area, all of our listeners in the Atlanta area that are going to be in the game. Love to hang out with you guys then and there.
They can probably also catch us at the baseball game next weekend too, because that Saturday, at least the Saturday game, is going to be the beautiful A-Day game.
Next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday, April 6th.
Yeah, you're so right. Yeah, you're right. We'll talk about that next week, though. I will be there probably Friday night, definitively on Saturday. Dylan and I assume we'll both be at A-Day. We haven't even talked about it yet. It's kind of an implied thing.
You know me well enough to know I am always going to be the sicko that wants to go watch A-Day, especially when it's not going to be televised.
Probably need to reevaluate our whole ticket situation, because the Final Four is that weekend. So we'll figure out how that works.
I can go ahead and tell you my interest in March Madness went severely down.
We will reevaluate that. We'll have a supplemental prize pack. It may come in the form of Auburn softball tickets. I know that we addressed that not long ago, but we'll take a look. If there's a clear winner, we'll definitely hook you up with free A-Day tickets. I've actually been chatting back and forth with Jacob Hillman about A-Day. I just keep forgetting it's next weekend, and we'll touch base with you guys next week about what that looks like. We'll definitely have some form of a College Loop meetup. Let us know where that should be.
I think we're going to have a meetup with all of the Warpoor family.
Oh, good. I've been so out of the loop the past 3 weeks, huh? That's crazy. I was going to say, if not, then we can definitely do somewhere like a Tumors.
Slack does a lot of weird things whenever people try to send messages.
Okay, that Slack only blows up when I'm at work. Let me defend myself. I swear, people don't do their work at their jobs. Not hating, but come on, guys. How do you have this much time for Slack? All right, Dylan, talk to me about Auburn Gymnastics before I die.
Well, Auburn Gymnastics is, of course, going to the Berkeley Regional, where they're going to take on number 3 Cal. Also going to take on Stanford, Southern Utah, Southern Utah, San Jose State, Denver, UCLA, Arizona State, and Washington. Auburn being the last ranked team of the regionals. And the only ranked teams there are going to be Cal at number 3, number 6 in Denver, and number 10, number 11 in UCLA. So it's going to be a tough meet. Cal is very good. UCLA is one of those blue bloods of gymnastics. And, of course, Denver's also really good this year as well. You're going to be relying on your, of course, all SEC athletes and Cassie Stevens and Julianne Huff to kind of take up where Auburn kind of fell apart throughout later parts of the year. But Auburn having an all SEC player on vault, or 2 SEC players on vault, is absolutely ridiculous knowing the past couple of years. But those 2 balling out, it's time for Auburn to lock in.
Yep,
it's time to grab your controller and lean forward a little bit in your chair, because it's now or never for at least this season. You're gonna have you're all healthy. everybody got a nice little week off. Or we got 2 weeks off, really. It's next week. You got a nice little vacation in Berkeley, California for a little bit. And whenever those mats get rolled out, time to lock in.
That's right. Wishing them the best of luck. Dylan, we've got a couple other things we want to touch on before we get out of here. I'm going to let you start rolling. I'm going to pick up with golf, and then I'm going to do a little bit of sunshine pumping for Auburn golf because I'm tremendously excited, which I'll also plug once I get my details set up. But I do think, drop in the comments if you're listening and you're planning on going to the SEC Golf Championship. I know it's kind of a crapshoot, but if you happen to live in that geographic area, which is not crazy for our viewership, by the way, based on our topography map, that's not unreasonable to assume. If you are, let me know. We'll definitely orchestrate some kind of meetup and see if we can hang out and watch some golf, because I do think we've got a group of golf junkies that I hang out with that I think we're going to go watch some SEC golf at St. Simon's if they'll let us in. So we'll see how that goes.
But yeah, so as you were saying, Auburn has had, let me see in total, 10 total athletes get recognized this past week. I'll let Tarr do the highlight Jackson Coiven, who is just an absolute dog when it comes to golf. But you had Celine Ovuk was named SEC Player of the Week for women's tennis. Then Auburn Swimming and Diving, who are currently at Nationals and having a great time over there at Nationals, had 8 players get All-American honors. Henry Bethel for the 200 medley relay. And let me just go through the medley relays. Sahib Khalid. I butchered that. For also the 200. Callie Mackin. These names are hard for me. Nate Stoffel as well for the 200 medley relay. And then for the free relays, Michael Bonson, Ryan Husband, Mason Matthias, and Danny Schmidt. Those names are way easier for me to say out loud. All got All-American honors. And then Tarr.
Yeah, so Jackson Coiven is a dog. This is his, 4th SEC Freshman of the Week?
This is his 4th time being announced as SEC Freshman of the Week, and he's been recognized a total of 7 times.
Yeah, so let me just read out some staggering numbers to you guys before I start roll credits here on the College League podcast. For those of you guys, I don't know how much you guys listen or not listen, but watch golf or play golf or try to play golf like I do. I don't do it well, but I try. These are some staggering numbers. Freshman Jackson Coiven has appeared in, I believe he's played in, I don't have the competitions in front of me. Every competition Auburn's competed in this year. I'll have the numbers when I scroll down because I highlighted some notes here. Here's something staggering to me. His round average is in 69.56, guys. That is 2.5 under par on average as a freshman. That does, in fact, lead Auburn's team. He's the only average in the 60s. That is unbelievable. And then as you roll through, something that stuck out to me that I need to go do some deep dive in. This is going to be consulting once again. One Jacob Hillman, career birdies. It's broken down at the collegiate level by year by year, how many birdies you have year to year. So for some context, there are a handful of juniors that I'll go with that have 301 career birdies. That's in Carson Batcha. J.M. Butler has 483 career birdies, exceptional golfer. Ryan Eshelman has 223 career birdies, and that's really your highlights of your juniors. Brandon Valdez with 357. In one season that is not completed, Jackson Coiven has 122 birdies. Guys, that's like not even close. Your next closest is Reed Lauder. His freshman year, he had 104. That is a full round of golf, birdieing every hole. More worth of birdies alone. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I tend to throw a damn near party on the green when I put one on in a 3 on a par 4 on a par 5. It really makes my day feel really good. And if I can one putt on a par 3, you will not stop hearing about it for the rest of my day. That's just another dip in the bucket for this young man who has got a very, very bright future ahead of him. Ranked the number 6 golfer in the country. Mind you, Auburn's got 3 of the top 35 golfers in the country.
I will say, I forgot to mention, when I said recognized a total of 7 times in total, he's been SEC Freshman of the Week 4 times. He's been SEC Golfer of the Week 3 times.
3 times, yes. He's just racking up accolades, and he's going to go down as one of the greats at Auburn in terms of golfers for sure, athletes. He'll be an honorable mention just because of depends on where you land in terms of NCAA's individuals. This young man has got a bright future ahead of him, and number one recruit coming out of high school. It probably should be, but don't be surprised when you see this young man on the Korn Ferry Tour or the PGA Tour one day, because I've been able to go back and watch some of his highlights. Shout out Jacob Hillman once again for supplying me with where to find anything golf. You go talk to that guy, he gets it. That guy's also like he's like a single digit handicap. I'm trying to get like him, but absolute dog. What do you have down there, Dylan?
I found a picture of a Auburn golf hat, and I was going to ask you to see if you knew where it was.
Yeah, I do. I know exactly. Put it up on the screen real quick. That is available at. I'm almost positive you can either get that at the bookstore. I think it's only on person, not online, or you can get that at Alumni Hall.
Word.
It's legendary. Okay, that wraps things up for the College Loop podcast today. Before I get to, like I said, our roll credits, I want to remind everybody, if you're hanging out with us here on the YouTube stream, thank you guys so much. We appreciate your continual interactions. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, ring the bell right here on the YouTube channel. Give us your comments, give us your feedback. Shout out your favorite Auburn athlete. Shout out an Auburn athlete from this year that has done exceptionally well or is doing exceptional things inside the playing field or beyond. We want to give all those positive, uplifting stories. Certainly proud of the young men and women who compete every single day and give their all for Auburn. And give us your feedback. What do you guys want us to talk about as we approach the Sunday live stream? Make sure you guys all come hang out with us at 6 o'clock Central Time right here on the YouTube channel. Once again, subscribe, ring the bell so you can stay up to date with everything going on here at the College Loop Podcast. If you're listening on a streaming platform, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. It means the world to me. It means the world to Dylan and to all the other friends of the program. Make sure you give us 5 stars, thumbs up, whatever the highest rating is on your streaming platform of choice. Share the show with a friend so we can continue to grow the College Loop family. Moving forward, if you guys want to support the show in ways that go beyond just hitting like, subscribe, ring the bell, make sure you head over to thewarreport.com, pick up your very own College Loop Podcast, War Report Podcast Network, co-branded Feelin' Loopy t-shirt, 5 different colorways, $25. Link is available in the description, only available at thewarreport.com. Use hashtag Feelin' Loopy, that's feeling without the G, on your social media platform of choice. Tag us in it once you get your shirt, and we'll make sure we throw it up on the show or the stream. So thank you guys for your continual love and support. I'm Harrison Tarr, at by Harrison Tarr on the Bird app and on Instagram. Go check out some new golf content, drop some new golf content this week, and soft launched That's One Golf. That is at That's One _ golf on Instagram. TikTok coming soon. Going to try out the Instagram Reels thing because we want to see how long TikTok's going to be legal in the United States of America. We'll find out. We're staying just as locked in on that one as you are, but launching some new golf content, and also have the That's One Golf April Open coming up on April 13th. We'll have some content coming up after that. It'll be a scramble tournament that my partner and I, team Show Me Your Tees, that is our team name, will bring to you guys. Hopefully we're going to bring home the trophy in the ugly red vest that we bought instead of green jackets from Goodwill. So it should be a lot of fun content headed your way. Dylan, I'm glad you're smiling. I hope other people will too. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Dylan, let's get out of here.
Of course. I'm Dylan Larck, at YouBoyTank on Twitter. I also have Instagram as well at Dylan Larck. That's DYLEN And of course, you can find me everywhere else at YouBoy the Tank. It's going to be on TikTok as well. I am terrified of Instagram Reels, can't lie. So I would like to just see if TikTok works for a little bit before I try Instagram Reels again. I worked on Instagram for about 6 years, so might want to hold off doing Instagram for a little bit. But of course, look for me all those places. If you're looking for me anywhere else, you have me on the College Loop, which is right here. We should like, comment, and subscribe. Leave your thoughts on the Auburn player transfer opening that all went down in a series of about an hour of each other. And of course, leave your predictions for this weekend of Diamond Sports, and leave your thoughts on Mickey Dean retiring at the end of the year. Quotation marks. Stepping down. Avoiding the firing word. But of course, you could check us out. I am all over the place right now. You could check us out on the audio version of the show as well on Spotify Podcast, Google Podcast, and of course Amazon Music. Also, go check us out on the War Report Gaming, where I have a couple of videos up right now, and I'm about to go record one as soon as this is over with. And I might have some other planned items to go about. NCAA 14 rebuilds going on very, very soon for your boy. Just had to order a couple of devices so I can record it. But of course, all that being said, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching this installment of the College Loop Podcast. War Eagle.
Love you guys.
There it is.